Welcome to the DMV Autocross Podcast. I'm Danny Kao.
And I'm Atta Tabesh.
We have a prepared statement from Shane Chinnon-Rhoden's family. On Sunday, August 4th, our mountain bike and autocrossing brother Shane went out for a routine bike ride. While on the trail, Shane had an accident and sustained serious injuries to his neck. He has several surgeries since and remains in shock trauma unit. Shane's road to recovery will be a long one, and he and the family will need the help that they can get. A GoFundMe drive has already started. Please keep Shane and his family in your thoughts and prayers.
The following is a message from Carrie, Shane's wife. Please help support our Shane. He is a wonderful husband and the proud father of 2 children, a 4-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter. Shane loves his life. He was always on the move, whether racing cars with SCCA, hitting the mountain bike trails with MMB and MVD, hiking, or spending quality time with his family. Tragically, a recent mountain biking accident left Shane with severe injuries, including a broken neck and fractured spine. He has had 2 complex spinal surgeries and is facing a long road to recovery. Presently, he can move his arms, but has no fine motor skills and is not yet able to move his legs. We are a family of 4 and rely solely on Shane's income. He will be hospitalized for several weeks, if not months, and will need much rehabilitation. Currently, we are struggling with the emotional impact of his injuries, compounded by unforeseen financial burden of medical bills, rehabilitation, and long recovery. We can't just wait to hear him laugh again. We can't wait until he is home. We can't wait until all this is just a memory. No amount is too small. Thank you in advance for your kindness and support. This is very much appreciated. Carrie.
Well, the GoFundMe information will be provided in this podcast, and now we're continue to our regular scheduled programming. Welcome to our 17th episode of the DMV Autocross Podcast. I'm Danny Kao.
And I'm Atta Tabesh. Thank you for joining us on our episode number 16. Anything interesting going on in the last couple of weeks, Danny?
Well, the weather has calmed down a little bit, and it's no longer excruciatingly hot, but the temperature is still pretty high. I bought a huge umbrella and drank plenty of water, so no heat strokes for the past few weeks. The positive thing is I lost 7 pounds in July. Not sure if it was from dehydration or my physical activity went up after my work retirement. Either way, I'll take it. So Atta, what's coming up in the next couple of weeks?
This coming Saturday, the Greater Washington, D.C. Mercedes-Benz Car Club Autocross number 6 is being held on the Potomac Pad at Summit Point. Registration, by the time this podcast airs, will have already closed, and it's almost at capacity at time of recording, based on scanning the entry list. Our regulars, like the Bain family, will be headlining the event with 3 Bains. Only 2 Clays and 2 Hoffmans, so the Bain family wins. Congratulations. Fast people like Jen Fox, Patrick Gaffney, Marcus Gange, Howard Lankin, Steve Mitchell, Marcus Pyne, Dean Sapp, John Vankovich, Dustin Grubbs, Greg Pollock, Brian Carwin, and maybe myself will make a surprise appearance, even though I paid for the whole season. I've only showed up for a few events, I think. And then I have to go camping this weekend. So it's going to be a great event. It's going to be on the Potomac Pad, but I'm sure the course design will yet again be fast. Really impressive course designs so far this year. So let's get ready for that.
Getting off script here a little, Adam. Do you plan to camp at Summit Point?
I plan on emailing him and apologizing yet again. Oh, but out of respect,
this is event number 6. You did 1.
No, okay. It depends on how you look at it. I'm there in spirit all the time.
Oh, geez, okay.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm helping out someone that's on the wait list. So if anything, I should be praised.
You should be praised. Okay.
So someone's coming in that didn't think they would get in. So
yeah, I hope you realize that you pay for 11 events just to get number 39 to run once.
Okay, so but I'm really busy.
All right, I understand. I understand. You got to get busy.
Oh my goodness.
All right, moving on. Sunday, WDCR will host its autocross event number 4 at Waldorf. Ryan St. Louis, our fearless WDCR leader, is greedy. Therefore, he's not going to end registration until the night before the event. Right now, there are 111 people registered at the time of the recording, but the event's capped at 160. So you still have plenty of time to register. The normal suspect of DC region will be there, but looking closely at the entry list, we will see Mr. Paul Kozlak, multi-time SCCA national champion, and the driver Eminence will be in attendance, which is awesome. I see Sam Versalo is registered for C Street, try to get within 3 seconds of Jack Chrissy. Doug Newhart, longtime autocross, incorporated autocrosser from 15 years ago, is now racing with his son Dylan and is coming back into autocrossing, which is fun to watch. I even see Steve and Avante Salisbury register in F Street, so they're making a rare appearance. Office Mike McKee should be there unless he's trying to pull over somebody on I-70, or you say 29.
Or 29, yeah.
That's right. Even Trevor Blackwell making a rare appearance in the DC event after his big win over Marcus Pyne in the Philly SCCA event at Ripken. The question will remain, will Ada continue his win at XA? And will Allen continue his domination in XB? We will stay tuned to find out, but my guess is the FTD will be taken by Mike Moran, his A-Mod Exoset, unless Nicholas Kingsbury will take FTD again with the Maryland FSAE TR28 Turf Racing Special.
Okay, the following week is going to be super light. There's only one autocross in the area, which is the PCA Potomac Autocross number 5. The event will be held on Washington Circuit at Summit Point. And at the time of this recording, the registration is right around 65. So that means there are around 10 spaces left. So if you'd like to join the race, please register soon. The registration will close next Monday. And don't forget, there will be breakfast and lunch served. It's the best part.
That's right. That's right. So for the third episode in a row, our resident weather report celebrity is in the DMV podcast studio presenting the weather forecast. Coming freshly out of his Big Finger Lakes National Tour win, let's welcome our own gerontologist, Alan Claffey.
He's a meteorologist. Wait, congrats to Alan's big win. And Danny, what's it? What I shouldn't be asked. What is a gerontologist?
You know, like gerontologist, you know, like geriatric science,
no,
geritol, you know, you get the point.
Are you saying Alan is taking geritol to boost his performance?
Alan's the ageless wonder.
Hi, everybody. This is your weatherman, Alan, here at the air chair in the DMV Podcast studios. It's a beautiful Thursday, today, and I'm here to bring you the weather for the next 2 weeks of autocross right here on my little cheat sheet here. So we're going to start out Saturday, the 17th. Mercedes Club is running at the Potomac pad at Summit Point. It's going to be 82 degrees, cloudy and humid with the possibility of a thunderstorm. Danny, where are my numbers? Where are my numbers? No numbers?
Because I'm screwing my tires today.
Oh my God. Okay, this is why we can't get good help. Sunday, we are at Waldorf, Maryland. Beautiful. Downtown Waldorf for WDCR action at the Blue Crab Stadium. It says 84 degrees, clouds and sun. There's a chance of showers and a chance of a thunderstorm. I think I got that wrong last time, so let's hope I am again, because that wouldn't be the first time at all. The only other thing on the schedule in the next couple of weeks is on Saturday, the 24th. It looks like PCA Potomac will be running at the Washington Circuit at Summit Point Motorsports Park. I got a comfortable 82 degrees, cloudy and humid with a couple of showers. I don't think that's unusual for this time of year. So that's really all I got for weather. We're looking a little further ahead to the big show in Lincoln, Nebraska in a couple of weeks, but I'm not going to worry about the forecast for that because that's a long ways away and it will almost definitely be wrong. So we will bid you a fond farewell from the podcast studio.
Alan, are these tires too big for you, Miata?
Those tires are not going to fit any Miata I know of.
You're not going to have any gearing problems.
No, we're definitely not going to get to a red line.
Yeah, it's probably not even going to start. I'll get offline.
It's probably going to rub like crazy. So, yeah, maybe we'll just put those on a truck like they're supposed to be. All right, on that happy note, we're going to sign off from here. I'll see you guys in Waldorf. And what's happening here? Oh, there's a number.
Some plastic S's.
All right, plastic S's. All right, on that happy note, we're signing off. See ya.
Thank you, Alan. Last couple of weeks were pretty light on the schedule for the DMV Autocross. Unfortunately, we have nothing to report for the NCC BMW Test and Tune. However, August 2nd through 4th was the 2024 Tire Rack SCCA Romulus National Tour at Finger Lakes, New York. A whole bunch of DMV autocrossers went up there and challenged the rest of the Northeast autocrossers. WDCR scored many big wins. Let's quickly go to the results. In Super Street, Patrick Gaffney takes the huge win within less than 100th of a second over multi-time national champion Pat Salerno. In A Street, Dean Mohi took the win, followed by Craig Mahefka in second. Jump to C Street. Our fast guy, Jack Chrissy, is your class winner. In F Street, Sam Strano finished second, right behind the fastest young alien SCCA solo, Tom O'Gorman. Fourth went to Brian Carwin. Fifth went to Kevin Henry. In G Street, Dustin Grubb continued his dominance over everybody else. Second place went to Matthew Mayer, the head honcho of the Philly SCCA solo. In H Street, Daniel McFarland was behind the entire event until the very last run and pulled out a big win over Josh Brockman. Awesome.
Purple sectors all around.
That's right. That's right. In Street Touring Extreme, Cody Hunt finished fourth. In CSP, Tom Carroll takes the second spot. John Venevas won Street Modified. In XP, our gerontologist, Alan Claffey, took his first ever national tour win with his KOSEP's Fabricable Solutions Indy Miata. I've never seen Alan with that big of a smile. He sort of reminded me of the look of Jack Skellington character from The Nightmare from Christmas. Congratulations to our winner, and especially a big congratulations to Alan.
This is Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Such a good movie. Last Saturday was the WDCR Test and Tune. Test and Tuner students had 2 courses to test and sample on. Most people had 30 plus runs, and I think most of the customers were very happy and they'll come back again. Unfortunately, though, this is the last WDCR Test and Tune or school for the year, so sign up early and often next year.
The same Saturday, BMC held its Autocross number 3 event, which was a rain day makeup event at Ripken Stadium. Let's quickly go over the top 10 fastest times in the top 10 PAX times. The top time of the day went to Aaron Shue, followed by Mike Moran. The third place went to Patrick Gaffney. Fourth went to Greg Jenkins. Dean Mohi was fifth. Sixth went to Howard Lankin. Seventh is Ken Roller. Jen Fox is number 8. Damon Lowney was ninth. And Craig Schinelli is 10th. And on the PAX competition, Aaron Shue also took top PAX, followed by Ken Roller, Patrick Gaffney, Dean Mohi. Andres Rodriguez is 5th. Howard Lankin 6th. Rob Gibbons 7th. Craig Schinelli 8th. Elizabeth Sharp is 9th. And Jen Fox round out the top 10.
The following day, Philly SCCA held their number 8 event also at the Ripken Stadium, which means that this was a Ripken Stadium doubleheader weekend. The course was super fast, yet highly technical due to camber changes. And to no one's surprise, kart modified class dominated the top raw time results. The fastest raw time went to Ethan Azera, followed by Nicholas Fiorani. Alex Azera finished 3rd. Mike Moran in his A-Mod car finished 4th. Russ Addy finished 5th. Kate Bangs finished 6th. Eric Peachy was 7th. Patrick Gaffney 8th. Greg Jenkins 9th. And Trevor Blackwell in his STR car finished 10th. Top PAX went to Wally Hedenchek, and let's just call him Wally. Ken Roller 2nd. Jack Chrissy 3rd. Trevor Blackwell 4th. Dustin Grubbs 5th. Craig Marhefka 6th. Patrick Gaffney 7th. Kevin Donovan is 8th. Patrick Fraser is 9th, and David Graver round out the top 10. And that's our events highlight and results for the week.
All right, so for this week's feature, I'm going to do something interesting. I don't think I've ever done this before. Actually, I've done it once a long time ago on YouTube. I'm going to show you how to change a tire so that there's no more mystery. I'm sure you go to a tire shop or go to any other places, you see other people changing. But let me just change a tire for you at home so that you can realize that for about $1,000 you can buy a tire machine. And then this arm actually cost me like $600. So this is probably the most important tool there is if you're not strong like I am, right? So first of all, if you want to change a tire, you need to have a tire machine. It's always best that you have a arm assist unless you have 3 arms or you're super strong. You need one of these, right? This is one of the tire valve extracting tool. So you can extract them and you get the one that you can torque it so it will click, and then that tells you that it's the right torque. And then the other thing that you need is really something like this, right? I'm not going to do a commercial or anything, but I've tested all kinds of different tire mounting loops. This is probably one of the best ones. So you can use soap, you can use soap and water, you can use all kinds of stuff. But this thing, man, I'll tell you, it's so sticky, and then it's slick. I mean, not sticky. It's really slick, and it dries up nice, and then actually saves a lot of these humongous tire mounting issues. So let me go ahead and get started. First thing you want to do is I'm going to use Allen's tire. I'm going to break the bead, right? So one of the things that you want to be careful is these tires, they all have a TPMS. So when you break the bead, you want to break on the side here. You definitely want to break on that, because if you do that, you're going to end up breaking the TPMS. So what I do is I am going to go ahead and break the bead. First, of course, you need to let the air out. So once you let the air out, what I like to do is I put more loops in here, just in case. Okay, this way it will protect, your rims when you start extracting them. But you notice that when I'm taking them out, I'm trying to stay away from the TPMS. Lube them, and then you want to do the backside. In the backside, you don't have to worry about TPMS too much. You can pop it right here. Do that, and then do the other side. And of course, if you're doing a larger tires, or the tires are really, really stuck on the rim, you may have to do all four corners. But this is a used tire that we're using for demonstration, so it's a little bit easier. And by the way, this is a 71 RS, which has a pretty stiff sidewall. So what I do is I turn the wheel plate. Turn that off for now. So what I have to do is this is where the assist arm comes in really, really well. I want to make sure that I turn a little bit over so my TPMS is not being slammed when the assist arm goes down. So I press the assist arm down, so now I have a little bit of a gap. And what I like to do is I like to spin it and move it. Easier to come out. The next thing is I take my tire iron bar, okay? Once I stick the bar on the side of the sidewall, now I can remove the assist arm. I push this thing down the opposite side to bend it up like this, right? And once I have that, I can rotate. That's how you take the top section out of the tire. Then I keep on continuing until I pass the TPMS. Then again, I stick the arm down here this way, grab the bottom, and pull it up. Okay, and bent it up this way. So now I grab another arm, I stick it in between the gap here to make sure that it's definitely going to come out, and then I spin. That's how I take off a tire. Okay, so now the tire's out, right? Now I'm going to put them on. So when I put them on, I make sure, this is previously lube, I'm going to lube it a little bit more. Make sure there's plenty of lube on rim here. And then this is the thing or some sort of a little bit of a secret that I followed. The brand new rims nowadays, if you try to stuff a 18-inch rim on a car that was designed for 20-inch rims, that means that the inner barrel has to be super wide to clear the rotors and calipers and so forth. So the way to do it, so what happens is when they do that, they always make this inside as wide as they possibly can to have more inside wheel clearance. And a lot of times when you put the tire on, especially the sticky newer tires, what happens is it gets stuck here and it doesn't really go down. And even if it goes down, then the tire's frozen on the rim itself, so that it doesn't matter how much pressure that you try to throw in there, it doesn't seep the bead. So what I do is I coat the entire thing on the outside, and I put plenty of lube, this type of lube, which is pretty excellent actually, along the lip here too, right? So obviously this is an older tire, so it's a lot simpler, but if it's a brand new tire, look what happens. When I put this on, the tire is going to start slowing down, but it's going to get lube all the way down to the bottom. So when you start putting the tire on a larger tire, when the rims get stuck, when it won't see, because there's all this loops on there, the bottom will move. So when you want to see the tire, it's not just making sure that the gap is closing. You want to make sure the whole tire is moving. That's how you can put the air out and evenly and distribute it and let it seat, right? Okay, so another thing is a lot of these tires, they will have a dot here, right? These dot, I don't really know what that dot does, but I was told one time that this dot has to match roughly where the tire valve is. So if somebody actually knows about this really, really well, they can confirm that. So what I would do is again, I rotate my PPMS over here, right? Then I put a dot a little bit over, and then this is a technique that my friend Andy Thomas told me. Andy's probably around like a million tires now. This arm here with this contraption here, it's best to get the tire sitting on top of the contraption, and in this angle, then you rotate. That's how you safely bring the tire down. So back in the day, I didn't understand that trick. I just laid the tire on top of it, so it can keep on rotating, it'll come right off. But so remember, when you do that, always put the tire sitting on the outside of this edge, right? And then I'll keep on rotating. I'll let it rotate. As you can see, the dot used to be here. As I rotate, it pushes over here, so it has a tendency to move it over here. So when I started with the dot a little bit over. Okay, put this thing down here. Now this time I use both arms. I grab the first arm, make sure I miss the TPMS. I bring it over here. Okay, and now using this bar to hold it down, and then I stick it in here, make sure that the entire rim tires underneath. That's how you see them. Okay? And once that's done, the only thing I'm left to do is to air them up. So what I do is I will spin here, and you can see the pop opening here. You know, for some reason, that the funniest thing is if you keep this thing on the opposite side of you, the bottom is always facing you. That's just the way the tire works, right? So then I'm going to start putting air in. And as I put air in, make sure you don't put your hands anywhere near the gap. Because once it's popping up right against my side, so you'll know that sometimes you get a little bit dirty if you do it this way. And I'm just going to continue pumping the air until this end seats. It's coming. It's coming pretty fast. Okay, done. Okay, so now it's right around 30 psi. So what I like to do is for, in this case, this is Allen's ND. So RE71s, most people run below 30 psi. Okay, so what I like to do is I usually pump it up to 35 psi. Sorry, I extracted the tool here. Okay, I forgot about that. Okay, so let me pump a little bit more air. Hit that too hard there, so I end up hitting the lead blaster. So I'll pump it up to 40, and I put my little tool on. Stop that. So keep on turning, and you'll hear the click. Okay, so now that means that the valve stand is torque. I recheck it again, it's at 35 psi. Now it's ready to drive. All right, so anyway, that's it. That's how you change a tire. Obviously, this is probably the abbreviated version of this, but there's plenty of other way to do it. And then a tire machine right now, I bought this thing 10 years ago for like $900. So right now it's probably $1,200, $1,300 now, but I made all my money back within the first year, just for my own tires, right? So you figure that, if I had to change tire 5 times, nowadays it's almost $200 when you change your tires now. So take that, multiply by 5, you get the idea. All right, and that's it for this week's feature.
For our Meeting a New Autocross Friend segment, we are happy to have Marcus Pyne to be with us today. Marcus is one of the fastest autocrossers in the DMV area, and he wins everything. Co-driving with Steve Mitchell's ND Miata, Marcus regularly FTDs at local events and wins national events up and down the whole East Coast. He's also in contention at the SCCA National Championships. We welcome Marcus to the DMV Autocross Podcast. Welcome.
Hey guys.
Hello, Marcus.
How you doing?
Good. So welcome, Marcus. So I've known you for over 10 years now. I remember the days that you started at CDC at Waldorf and Frederick in your BRZ going fast. Could you introduce yourself to our listeners and go over your autocross career so far?
Yep. So I'm Marcus Pyne. I've had 3 BRZs that I've raced a lot, as well as an ND Miata that Steve owns. This year is actually my 10th full season autocrossing. I think I did maybe 1 or 2 events back in 2013 with CDC. And I did that for a year or 2 exclusively before Danny and Greg and Jen and some other people are like, oh, you should come try SCCA. So I went to those events, and lost badly.
Well,
Okay.
that's not true.
You say you lost badly, but let's dive right into this. When did you realize you were actually fast? And was there any indication of like a single event or an experience that ended you like telling yourself like, okay, now I'm a fast guy?
Probably maybe like a year and a half, 2 years in, I'd been racing on stock tires for a BRZ, so Michelin Primacies the whole time. And one of my friends couldn't make an event. So he let me have there were Z2 Star Specs back then, was the tire to have. And I put them on my car, and I finished 5th overall that day. I was like, oh, maybe I'm good at this.
So that was the event. That was the...
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you go from middle of the pack all the way up to the top just by swapping tires. And it's like, okay,
that's awesome.
That's really cool.
Don't tell them the secret like that. I mean, like all newbies should be on stock tires.
Oh my God.
Yeah, year and a half I did on stock tires learning. I mean, the limits were lower, but it's still a ton of fun.
Well, we couldn't fool Marcus for loan, I guess.
Oh my God. I love it.
All right. So now, but can you give us a sense of how much effort? I mean, it can be that easy, right? It's not like I'm switching tires and I'm instantly national champion. So can you give us a sense of how much effort that you put in autocrossing? Give us some secrets on what you learn and practice to get you where you are today?
Sure. So, I mean, like this year, I've already done, I think, 22 events for autocross, or at least 22 days of autocrossing. And I'm going to Philly this weekend for a doubleheader. I'm going to Finger Lakes next weekend for a doubleheader. So it's just seat time. In between all the runs, I'm looking at data. I'm riding with people. I'm having people ride with me. Anything I can do. Like if you've put a video online and you're in the top 15 in packs, I've probably watched your video just to see different line selection and things like that. See if there are things I'm missing that other people are doing better. And then I'm in the sim rig right now. So do some iRacing during the week. Stay sharp.
Are you racing while doing this podcast? Like, are you actually racing right now? Like,
yeah, the screens are off. You can.
Oh, okay.
Kind of see
Okay, I see. That's great. So you travel to all the national events and pay an annual visit to the SCCA National Championships. What drives you to spend the time and the money to attend them? And what's your main reason for
the competition is so great, especially when you widen where you're racing, right? Having the whole country come together really shows you just where you're at.
Yep.
And it's also nice, like you go to all these events, you make friends everywhere. And so once a year you go to Nebraska and you got hundreds of your friends from all across the country to come hang out for a week. You got a vacation with all your friends once a year. Tons of fun. Big courses as well. Like when you go to Nebraska, the courses there, like Waldorf, it's not that big, and Summit Point, like but concrete and 10 times the size, it's a different experience. Same thing with Pro Solo, adding the drag racing tree into the mix. It's almost a different sport.
No, that's great. So I know that you have tons of friends and everybody's always cheering you on, back at home, right? And as well as away races. So would you actually say something to your posses and friends and on how to encourage you and cheer you on for, every event?
Fans.
Right? I know you have a fan club. I know Greg and Jen, sometimes they say they have to rush back, on Saturday races, say, I got to open the pool for Marcus to jump in. You want to mention some of your friends and tell us, I want to say something that you're appreciative of them, while you're on this podcast?
Yeah, just the support from all of my friends, whether it is Greg or Jen or Abby or anyone, just showing up and being there for you. It really helps mentally. You're at the line or Cleveland, Greg and Jen, they could have gone home, but they stayed an extra hour later while I was in the Super Challenge to hang out and support me. And just having friends like that really makes the sport special.
That's awesome. Greg and Jen also supported my Super Challenge in New Jersey. And then,
nice.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. All right.
Well, Marcus, thank you so much for joining us today. You are our best hope for an STR National Championship.
Our only hope.
Our only hope. And we'll all be rooting for you come September. So keep going fast, keep winning everything. And thank you, Marcus.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Marcus.
All right, this concludes our podcast episode. Everyone is excused except for the novices. Our novice meeting begins now. So for today's novice meeting, we're going to be talking about a topic that's a little interesting. It's a little different because I was on both ends of this topic, and I feel like everyone ends up on both ends of this topic, and that's how to ask for ride-alongs and how to ask for tips during an autocross event. So Danny, before I throw the football at you, I want yay, he caught it. I had some thoughts about this because I was the guy walking around asking for ride-alongs from anyone. I didn't know what was going on at first. And I thought it was so cool to just be riding around. And I'll never forget, I asked this guy, and he's not in this region. He was here it was a big event. And I asked this guy about what his suspension setup was. And he waved me off. And I've never been waved off before. And I didn't understand why. And I thought to myself, he's mean, right?
No.
And looking back, Danny, and I tell you, I straight up don't remember his name, but I know he's not from here. He came here for this big, huge national level event. And he was about, the guy, the grid worker was about to send him. He was standing right, the grid worker was standing right next to me. And I'm asking this guy about his suspension setup. He's got his helmet on. He's buckled in. He's got his harness on. Like, he's about to race. And I'm asking this guy, what's up with your suspension? You know what I mean? So, and now fast forward to today, I feel like anyone that comes running at me for a ride along, for the most part, to kind of make up for my crimes, I have to say yes. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. But Danny, can you tell us how to kind of, how and when? I feel like when is a big deal of asking for ride-alongs and tips during the race, right? So Can you hit us a little bit with some knowledge?
Yeah, of course I can. So when you think about it, you are enjoying the race. You're coming to a race that you're going to enjoy and try to do well yourself. But let's put yourself into the other people's shoes. They're there to try to improve their race and do well themselves, right? So anytime when you're asking somebody else for a ride along to take up their racing time, that takes away that competitor's time to focus on themselves to race, right? It's a very, very, very important thing to kind of consider. I mean, this is not a team. It's really kind of funny because every racing event I go to, the organizers want to say, we're all in the same team, right? Everybody has to work well together in order to operate.
In a way, we are. In a way, yeah.
But racing is an individual, selfish sport. Your goal is to beat the crap out of the other guy, right? So if you come over and says, "Oh no, I'm not here to be anybody else," and all that stuff, you can do that now. But once you get good and get really good and competitive at it, and you're going to try to be everybody.
And Danny, at a national event, can you imagine?
Yeah.
This was not a local event.
Yeah.
There was a big trailer that was from Kansas or Missouri or wherever the middle of the country is.
That's right.
And they had big numbers and signs and flags. I'd never seen so many flags at a race before. They were, you know what I'm talking about? They got these big flags. Right.
Like the real thing, right?
They had real flags.
Yeah, real flags.
I didn't know.
So then you got to think about, for local events, I guess it's not as bad, but for national events, people are spending thousands of dollars traveling from thousands of miles away for that 3 minutes of competition.
Yep.
And you're trying to take away one of the 3 minutes of the thousands of dollars and years of expertise, right? Okay. So the first thing we need to consider, especially for novices, is when you ask a competitor for a ride along, all the competitors are at different stages of their competition career. If somebody's brand new, they probably won't be able to take anybody else for a ride along unless they're family or good friends, right? Hey, let's go see what's going on.
Sure.
Right. So then once a person that's been autocrossing for a while, let's say 3 months, 6 months, and a year, or a couple of years, it will get to a point where they, after you're autocross for a while, you feel like, I'm confident. I know what's going on here. Like,
sure.
Okay. So a newbie comes over as a 6 months novice, I would say, I got you covered, right? But you could be covering all kinds of wrong things.
Oh, yeah.
Which is okay too, right? Then you get into a 2-year, 3-year people at autocrosses that has not crossed over to competition events. There are not, they started catching the bug, but they're not completely in. That's the time that these guys are getting asked, the drivers, getting to this, like exactly how you feel, right? Like I will feel bad not to give you a ride along.
Yeah, right.
You feel obligated and guilty, not when somebody's asking that's not there, right?
Right.
Then you reach a 4 or 5 year driver where now you're competitive in all the events,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And now all of a sudden you're 100% selfish now. You're Max Verstappen, right? So when people ask you for stuff, you go, talk to the hand, right?
Talk to the hand.
Don't talk to me. I mean, what are you doing, right?
Right,
Why
right.
are you asking me, right? It's
Yeah.
one of those things. And then somebody actually gets mad and somebody try to come up with all the excuses and stuff like
Right.
that, right?
Right.
And then you reach to a point where you become national champions, right? And national champions, if they see other national champions or the competition is good,
Yeah.
they're not giving you any ride-alongs because the competition is they got competition now. If
Right.
I'm going to let so-and-so beat me, that's
Yeah.
not a good thing. So
Not a good
you want to
look.
get out of their way too. Then you reach to a certain point where people are going down on the other side of the career or they don't give a crap about autocrossing anymore. And somebody else comes, oh, come on, I'll show you.
Come on.
Right? Okay. So you have these type of things.
There's a
right?
bell curve. You're saying there's an actual.
That's right. There's definitely a bell curve. Or maybe like a parabola.
Baby.
Yeah. Or like this. I mean,
That's
it's like a wave, right?
It's like a wavelength. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's right. Okay. So in the beginning is no need to ask. Oh, ask. Oh, don't ask.
Don't ask.
And then come back and
Well,
ask. Right. Okay. So now with that said, for the novices, now you understand the mindset of an experienced autocrosser.
Yes, correct.
Right. So when somebody says no, and somebody says, man, dude, like you can't, or not just wave you off, or I'm sorry,
Right.
it's because there are part of that curve.
Right. It's not because they hate you, right?
That's right. That's
like
right.
The guy that I thought hated me probably doesn't hate me. He probably doesn't even know who I am or care, right?
Yeah.
But he was focused. He had his helmet on. He was about to go do a run, and in essence, I'm breaking his focus is what I'm doing, right?
That's right.
And
That's
I wasn't even asking him for a ride along.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you, I've driven with some really, really competitive folks in my lifetime, and they're like awesome, right? Like we build cars together, and then we help each other, we travel together, and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And then once they're putting their helmet on, get ready to go, I leave them alone.
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And we're like we live in the same room,
Yeah.
and I leave them alone, right? Because I know that they're there for their time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go over there and say, "Oh, hey, by the way, go dinner at 6 p.m." No, I'm not going to do that, right? So with that said, let's first of all we need to establish the position of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Novices are asking people for the ride along. It's up to it is the person that's showing you the ride's prerogative to take you to drive or no. I would say, so let me make a recommendation on how to really ask.
Yes.
Right?
Tell us the tips.
So let's think about the tips of asking, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've seen the person, you carry conversations, you already know who he is, and then you are talking with them, right?
Mhm.
That's great. The best time to ask is before the competition starts and say, "Hey, Ada, I can really use your help. Can I ride along with you?"
Yep.
Right? And then Ada would say, "Sure, anytime." Right? But some of the people who are really there for competitions, they're going to say, "Sure, I know you, love to help out, right? But there are 4 runs.
Right.
The first 2 runs is okay. The next 2 runs, no."
Yes.
Okay.
That's fair. That's fair.
So yes, you establish that up front, right? To let them know that, okay, this is, you'd like to do the ride along, you need some help, right?
Mhm.
Now, it's a big no-no in my mind, right? After the first 2 runs that you start approaching someone and say, "Can I get a ride along?"
Yep.
Right? Because if that person is truly in some kind of a competition, right?
Yeah.
He probably want to say no, right? But you put him in the spot.
and some people, that pressure is high. It's a high pressure, high anxiety.
Right.
To say
well,
no.
I mean, for most part, for the locals, it shouldn't be like that. But,
Sure.
but you never know, right?
In general, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that person's saying, "Okay, here, I am so-and-so, and I'm running against Alan Claffey. I want to beat Alan Claffey by a 10th.
But they're not going to beat Alan Claffey because Alan Claffey is unbeatable. That's
right. Yeah, exactly. Right. But let's just hypothetically speaking that somebody wants to be our zoologist or proctologist.
Proctologist, they're going in.
So I know it sounds so bad. But the thing is, that you may think that there's no competition, but the competition is always there.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to respect other people's competition. So asking prior to the event is the best thing to do. Right. Number one.
Yep.
Right. Number two, if you're not even part of the event, you're a spectator, you're joyriding,
Yes.
right? Or you're brand new that you don't know the people that you're riding with.
Mm-hmm.
This is one key thing I would recommend, right? Which I learned from actually Chesapeake PCA, which they're doing a fantastic job at this.
Wonderful.
Right? You go to the organizer,
Ooh, I like
or
that.
you go to the novice coordinator and say to them and say, I'm new, I like to ride, right? And understand how this thing works, right? And I like to join this, or I'm already in the event, but I need to know where I'm going, right?
Yep.
Could you help me for a ride along? Could you arrange that for me, right? Then in Chesapeake's case, it will be someone like Pinto, right?
Awesome. Yep.
Or in a PCA Potomac's case, it could be, somebody like maybe John Vankerwich or John Clay.
Awesome.
They will find a person that they would know, right?
And that's going to be a good ride along. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Number one,
Quality.
they would know who to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, they will fully understand the situation of the competition.
Yep.
Right. So when they make a recommendation and take you there, most of the time you're going to get a pretty decent ride, right?
Yeah.
And at the right time, that's good for both of you.
So is one of your recommendations here, besides the one about not going after the second run, right? I love that recommendation. I think it's best, is to find someone that's helping run the organization, run the event, because you might not know who's the novice coordinator. You might not know who's, but you find anyone, and you ask them, and it'll get its way up the food chain.
Right. So in the SCCA WDCR's case, they have a dedicated novice coordinator.
Right.
That's the person that's taking you for the course walk.
Yes, that's a great way of figuring that out. Yes.
That's the guy. Okay.
That's the guy.
In fact, anyone who's leading a novice walk, if you see him, you want to ride along, that's the person you should ask first.
But you're not asking them to ride along with them. You're asking them for a ride along in general. And let them figure everything out.
And there's a reason why they're novice coordinators.
Okay.
Because they volunteer their time and effort in the organization as the person that helps the novice.
I love it.
Right. So if you go to a novice coordinator, I hate to say this, sometimes you get a novice coordinator are pretty busy, right? But they're on the hook. Right. They're the one that's running the organization.
Yeah.
So most of the time you go to novice coordinators, like every time you go to Pinto, like every time I go to the Chesapeake event, like sometimes Pinto will come to me and say, hey, Danny, can you take this person for a ride? This is his first time.
Yeah.
Right. So Pinto does an excellent job on doing this. What you do is just when you approach someone like Pinto or novice coordinator, you tell them, this is my first event. Right. I've never run a course before. I ran it once. This is what I like. I like to ride along to understand, to see the course and learn. Right. And then Pinto will come to an experienced driver and say, Danny, can you take, John or Mike to a ride along? And this is his first event. And he would love to see what's going on.
Danny, you said Pinto would find an experienced driver, but then you used yourself as the example. You mean like an old guy? Like, is that what you're actually?
No. I mean, like Pinto would know. Pinto would know in the first and second runs. I mean, most people. I mean, a lot of people will be receptive, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like if I'm racing against Brian Carwin, I need all 4 runs.
Boo.
And then because after 2 runs, if he's like way too faster than I am, I try to break his kneecap, right?
Well,
so
yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. But the key thing is a good novice coordinator or someone who's really, really experienced that manages the organization should know, they're fully aware of what the situation is. They know the competition situation. They know who can take people, who can't take people, right? So that would be the most important recommendation I would have, right? For all novices, right? Unless you went with a buddy of yours, right?
Yeah.
And then the buddy of yours is very experienced.
Well, that's different.
And the buddy can tell and also act as the
coordinator,
the Fox Pinto. Right. So and do it that way, right?
Yep.
So that would be the most important recommendation I would have on how to ask.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then in terms of when to ask, I think we covered that already, right? First and second run competition, very difficult. If you really want to get a 4th run or 5th run, ride along, right? Then you got to be very, very, especially for someone who's serious in autocrossing, right? You have to look at the results.
Yep.
If you look at the results, and this guy, like David Critcher, is beating everybody by 4 seconds, right? And then David will take right along for anybody.
For Mississippi.
That's right. Right. But if David Critcher is the 10th behind, right?
Maybe
right?
next time. Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. Yeah, maybe next time when he's beating everybody else by 5 seconds.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, of course, there's a lot of different situations and things that we can elaborate. But I would say fundamentally, that's what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, that's perfect. That actually answers this question, and it also, I feel like that's applicable to many other things. Like, for example, you take your first run, you come into the pits, you're checking your tires. While you're checking them, maybe, the person that just finished right behind you is so excited about their run, and they're running and they're telling you everything about it, but maybe wait 30 seconds, maybe wait until the person is standing up from checking their tires. Maybe give them a little bit of breathing space, or maybe even ask them, how did your run go first? Like there's a whole lot of etiquette that I feel like takes a long time to foster. And that fostering of that etiquette, it's we need to talk about it like we are right now. We're talking about it, and it starts clicking, gears are turning. It starts making more sense in the long run. So
no, that's absolutely correct.
You know what I mean?
A lot of times, if you really want to ride with someone, right? Go introduce yourself early, right? And say, I'm so-and-so. I watch you race. I'd really like to, and you're doing awesome. I mean, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a ride along at one of those points.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect.
Not too many people would say no, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's all about how you ask.
But that's the approach. The way you were like, excuse me, hello, thank you. Like, it goes a long way. It goes a long way. It really does. Right. So,
because the advantage of having the event organizer or the novice coordinator to ask is everybody that, every competitor's, doesn't matter how much experience you have, there's always a certain respect towards the people who's putting up the events for us.
Naturally.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're doing their favor and volunteer their time for us. So when they come back and say, hey, can you give us some time back? It's hard for us to. No one would refuse.
No, you're gonna say sure and of course.
Right.
That's it.
Or I this is a little late. Can I do that next time? Or so and so.
And that's where the timing comes in, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, that's perfect.
All right. I hope everybody's understand this a little bit more and happy with that. Yeah. And then with that,
and we all need a reminder, Danny. We all need a reminder.
That's right. That's right. And with that, then that wraps up our 17th episode of the DMV Autocross Podcast. Thank you for spending the last hour with us, and we hope you find this information informative and fun.
17? Are you?
I know, too many.
Don't forget to join us for the next episode, and until then, keep those tires on the track and that wing in the back, Michael Brown.
All right, Michael Brown. See you later.
All right, thank you. So, my favorite segment. I know it's not your favorite segment, but it's my favorite segment, and I am selfish, and all I care about is me right now.
I like Greg Poe's segment.
You do. I know you. You love Greg Poe's segment. I like. It's in my top 3. It's in my top 3.
That's right.
Right next to Weatherman and this segment right now. Ask Uncle Danny. Let's get right into it. This question, I feel like it's not going to apply to everyone, Danny. I feel like if you have a trust fund, this segment might not apply to you. Let's get right into it. Finances. What are some of the ways to approach the cost of autocross? I feel like you're the best person to ask this question. 1,000 cars. Talk to me, Danny. Like, what's up with finances?
Well, it's a juggling act when you are poor like me. And again, with every trust fund, lucky for you. And then most likely this will definitely not be for you because
So
finance is not a concern, right?
This is about not being able to just, swipe the credit card, right? If you can, awesome. 2 thumbs up, more power to you.
Yep.
Fast forward this segment.
So let's think about how to juggle when you have no money and you still want to race. It's a tough one, right?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a real tough one. So I've been, I'm a hobby guy for many, many, many years. And then some hobbies are more expensive and some hobbies are less. If you really don't have any money, I recommend running. That's a very, very good hobby when you don't have any money. But even that, you probably have 3-4 pairs of shoes and orthotics and all that stuff.
And they're all $200 shoes.
That's right. Okay. And then, but then once you get into hobby, it doesn't matter what it is, right? I would say I was into basketball, which is also not too expensive. Baseball wasn't that expensive to a certain extent. And then I think then I got into bicycling, and then that, we're the days of $5,000-$6,000 bicycles now, right? So So that could get expensive. Golf, it would, will bankrupt you, right?
Mhm.
Car racing, on the other hand, right, will bankrupt you 10 times faster than golf,
Yay.
right? If you're doing this. But of course, we're all fundamentally smart. We're autocrossing,
Yeah.
right? So autocrossing, you can survive under autocrossing.
Yeah.
It's very hard to survive under time attack. And it's almost impossible to survive under road race unless you are a dedicated, you have some perseverance and you have true grit, right? Okay, so let's talk about finances. As a beginning autocrosser, you need a car, right? You need a helmet,
Mhm.
and you need registration fees.
Yep.
And here you go, right? Okay, so if you already have a car, you can borrow a helmet, and if you can pay the registration, you're good for autocross.
Yeah.
Right. So hopefully, as a car owner, the cost is really registration because you can borrow helmets. Right.
Right.
Okay. So that's number one. And God forbid you got hooked. that's when the serious problems start happening.
Right.
Right. So once you get hooked, you're going to start coming around and say, okay, how do I get faster?
Yeah.
And then of course, all the seasoned autocrossers' suggestion will be, the normal suggestion is go to school.
Yeah.
Right. Seat time.
100%.
Right. Seat time equals money. School equals money. Registration equals money. So you have that side of money going up. Right. Then if you think that, so after you drove and you need more, you feel like you need some additional help. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we started talking about tires.
Right.
It's so unfortunate. When I started racing, the tire from me was somewhere between $400 to $500.
Wow.
Per set.
For set. Oh.
Per set.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm so jealous.
Now the same tires are $1,100 a set, right? So literally you jump from $400 to $1,100. So it has gone up like 175%. Yeah, somewhere around that range. Yeah. I remember a set of Hoosiers used to be $200 some, and we thought it was expensive, and now it's like $500, right? But unfortunately, that's since the only thing touching the ground while you're racing, hopefully, are your tires. That will be a large consumable. And then just to give you an idea of a more serious autocrosser, right? They will get the optimal car.
Yep.
Right. And then if you can buy a used car or an older car,
yep.
But you have to modify the used car and older car in order to get to a certain point. So let's assume that you buy a competitive new car, right? That's at least $30,000 now.
Yeah.
Right. Even a Honda Civic is $30,000.
Sure.
So that's what you start. And what that means is in a, obviously the interest rate is a little bit higher now. A $30,000 loan for 5 years, it's between $500 to $600 a month. Yeah, actually more than that. I'm sorry.
No, it's more.
It's $250 a month. It's about $750 actually. Yeah, somewhere around.
Yeah,
there.
with the interest, $30,000 loan with interest is going to be like $750. Yeah, or $750.
Yeah, $750. It's usually back in the day when the interest rate is around like 4%. It's usually $220, $225 per $100.
Per $100. Okay.
Yeah, I mean for $10,000.
I know what you meant.
Yeah. So that's how do you calculate your finances, right? And then after the car, which can turn into a monthly payment type of thing, which becomes a monthly reoccurring cost that you're running. And then what you have to have is you got tires.
Yep.
And then if you get competitive, you want the lighter rims.
Yep.
And then at the minimum now for street classes or any classes, I highly recommend a sway bar.
Yep.
Right? Even if you don't change any suspension at all, you want some adjustability to bring into your car so that at least you have, side-to-side stability. Or you can use another sway bar for rotation, right? Those are the things that are actually going to help you, to go faster, right? Fortunately, sway bars are not that expensive, right? Mm-hmm. It runs from maybe $150 to $175 all the way to like a car set bar for $1,000, right?
Sure.
But of course you get what you pay for. There's good stuff. You have more adjustability, more options. Lighter stuff, no adjustability, right? And then after that, if you don't want to stop there, and now it's a very, very deep hole that you're digging in. If you want to modify suspension, right? the cheapest suspension is that you can modify that's are actually effective are probably Koni's now, right? You can put Koni singles, right? And then that's a single adjustable, but the ride height adjustment is limited, right? But if you run those classes now, that's going to run you $800, right? Then after that, you don't necessarily have to do brake pads if you're having brand new cars, but if you have an older car, you probably need to change brake pads, and those are several $100s, right? And then on top of that, and if you really start to get into like the real serious side of a competition, then now we're talking about how to lighten the car, how to explore the rules, how you have to get catback mufflers, and then once you start to get into like a straight touring or more of an improved or limited, or like an unlimited kind of a prep type of thing. Mm-hmm. Now you're talking about tuning, intake, adding turbos.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. And then just all kinds of stuff, right? I mean, a high flow
carbon fiber roof, right?
That's right. It just started going up. Now the sky is the limit, right? So if you have a trust fund, then no problem.
Yeah, you're fine. You're good.
But if you don't have a trust fund,
how do you do this, Danny? How do you do it?
Figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna say something that's a lot of people don't want to hear it, and especially don't let your spouse hear this.
Okay.
Okay. What I do is I set a monthly budget that I can afford by month.
That sounds like something you do want your spouse to hear, though.
No, because if you're in deep end of autocrossing, right? Mm-hmm. Yes and no, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is if you don't set up that budget, your entire savings is going to get depleted.
Okay.
Right. So it is a good idea to set a monthly budget. And the reason that I said that that's what I do is because I don't have any savings.
Nice.
Right. I just use my monthly budget.
Yeah.
Right.
That is. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So what this means is whatever the monthly budget that after, when you work, you can generate after you paid your obligations, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whatever you have left is what you have to work with. Right. And then problem is when you get into this too deep and you don't have enough money to cover, many people end up doing some of the stuff I was doing when I was younger. Right. You'll probably run up your credit card. Right. Then you just pay back and forth, and you play this game, right? You pay the credit card. And then when one credit card runs out, you jump on another credit card, right? Which gets more and more and more dangerous.
Yeah, you're playing with interest too.
That's right. And then if you decide, you go, oh my God, like this is too much, right? And then if you're a homeowner, you'll probably go after a home equity line of credit.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And then you pay those credit card off, max out your home equity line of credit, then you start running up those credit card again. So it's like gambling.
I need to hang up right now, Danny, because this is
it's like a loser gambler. You keep on losing money because you never win. Right?
Do you want to buy my trailer?
Yeah. And then you get into a situation where if you look at, I mean, like a lot of people are saying, okay, here, Danny, you went through 121 cars, right? You must be doing really, really well.
Yeah.
And I said, well, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Because I have home equity line of credit that I ran up before.
Yep.
And then I have my 401k money that I took early withdrawal to pay off before.
That's how I got my trailer. Yep.
Yeah. And then, well, don't tell people that.
Why not? Oh.
But then you run up your credit cards like what you had before. And then when all those options, are exhausted, and then your wife says, man, you're out, right? You either stop or you get out of the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The next move is to just liquidate whatever you have.
Sure. That makes sense.
Right? Yeah. So then you get into a situation where you started selling your car to buy a cheaper car.
Yeah.
Until you freed up some finances.
Sure.
Right. And then you get rid of the cheaper car and buy a more expensive car.
Oh, smart. I like it.
Then you run up all the stuff again.
Oh.
Right. And then you sell that car, you go to a cheaper car, and then you go back and forth, back and forth. Every time you sell a car, you lose a few $1,000s, right? So that's like this. Right. So this is racing finance.
Are you
for some people?
Is it? I feel like, is this what we're telling them not to do, or you're just sharing what you've done?
I'm sharing what I've done. I'm sharing that, you can do it this way, but there are risks that are involved. Right?
Okay.
Especially if you're running on the monthly budget and you keep on doing this. You got to remember, whenever you put in a home equity line of credit and it takes 10 years to pay, right? All of your interest rate, you could be paying a bunch of interest, but your monthly payment goes lower. That gives you a false sense of security that I can spend more money.
Right.
But that's just more money that you owed. Right.
Right.
On the flip side, the advantage of it is my credit score is 850. So because I pay everything I did.
It doesn't get any higher than 850, does it?
Well, but no, I mean, I don't know what the highest. I don't know what the score is. So
I feel like it's 850.
But anyway, but that's kind of how it goes. You borrow, pay off, borrow, pay off over an extended period of time, and that's what happens, right? I definitely don't recommend people do that.
It is 850. I just looked it up, Danny.
Yeah,
you have the best.
I'm sharing my experience to let people know that is not a good thing to do.
I mean, right? but it worked for you.
Yes, but there's so many things that are lucky along the way, right? There's so many luck along the way, right? The luck along the way is I mean, I have the best wife ever. I'm sorry, you can't have her, right? I have a saint as a wife, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then while I'm spending, she's saving, right?
Yeah.
And then the difference is I treat all of my car buying and racing and all that stuff as my vacation.
Yes.
When you go on a vacation, the attitude for me is it's a depreciating expense, and if I'm using it, it's going to go away. I'm exchanging money in racing and buy cars for the experience. Right. So there's no difference between you take a cruise to the Caribbean, you never get any money back other than pictures.
Yep.
Right. So, and this is the reason why I have a lot of racing pictures.
Yep.
Right. Because I know ultimately that's all I have left is the memory and it can be reminded as pictures. Right. Yeah. So I went a little deeper than that. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what I end up doing is instead of selling the cars to people that I don't know, mm-hmm. I try to sell the car at a very reasonable price to my friends.
And keep going.
Right.
I want to. Yeah. I'll say something later.
So therefore, even though the car's not mine, mm-hmm. it's still there.
It's still there.
Right. It's a very sort of a selfish and tricky part. Right. So it to me, it's a lot of fun that a lot of people are enjoying my experience and my vacation by having the end result of that vacation.
Yes, we are.
Right? Then this way you never lose you never lose what you really put in. You see what I'm saying? I mean, so of course I know we're off the subject a little bit, but that's kind of how things are working, and that's the reason why I do things in the more of extreme kind of a fashion, and which are some of the things that I mentioned. You start with credit cards, then you jump on into home equity line of credit, and then all of a sudden, things are doing well, and I'm making more money. I pay them off, and then this cycle goes on, right?
Yeah.
Until you get to a point where you can eliminate a lot of major obligations. Mm-hmm. So then all of a sudden your income is only for your income increases, and then you have this much income that you can spend. And then the car gets a little bit more fancier, things gets a little bit faster, tires are getting a little bit newer, and so on and so on. Right. Mm-hmm. But I would say the take home message will be the best way to do it, honestly, is to set a monthly budget that you can afford. Right. I exploited my credit as part of my monthly expenditure. Right. Mm-hmm. And using the credit, the power of the credit is pretty scary. Mm-hmm. Right. It will make you enjoy your life. It can also bankrupt you.
Yeah.
Right. So the key thing is if you want to play with your credit, you better make sure that you can sustain that credit.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, you're going to lose everything. Right. So the key thing is only run at whatever your credit allows. And then don't just take, like, oh, okay, well, they let you borrow it. That doesn't mean that it's already good.
Right.
Right. But you still got to pay it. Right.
Yes.
It's definitely something to think about. So I would say, be quite honest. I did some risky stuff, and not robbing a bank, definitely not. Just like buy stuff that I wasn't sure if I can really do it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to kind of survive all the way until like 47, 48, 49 years old. Right.
Yeah.
And then 2008 hits. Well, actually it was 43. And when the market completely went dive and all that stuff, everybody lose all their 401k money. Yep. I think that's the time that was a wake up call for me. So what happened is during that time, I started spending money a little bit more conservatively for 4 or 5 years. That's right. That's why I raced go-karts.
Ah, very good.
Right? I raced go-karts. I maintained the fun, but my monthly outlet expenditure is lower. And then what I did is I made a massive effort and tried to pay off all my debts. Right. Yep. And then once that gets covered, I stay where I am, as much as I possibly can. But from 2008 on, I did not spend any money that I don't have, unless it's in a single line of credit that's operating at low interest.
Got it.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to drag this thing on and on too much, but I would say that the best way to do it is to have a fixed monthly expenses that you can handle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then use that in conjunction with your credit power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but don't go crazy. You got to find, if you have a little bit more resources to kind of, if you can cover some of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get a little bit more aggressive as far, whatever your credit allows, and you got to make sure you can pay it, right? But if you can't, right, stay with whatever your monthly finances. Yeah, that would be my recommendation.
I love that recommendation. I also, I want to talk about, I didn't want to cut you off earlier. I want to talk for a split second about generosity and what that looks like in the autocross world.
Mm-hmm.
This group of people, these autocrossers, are the most generous people on the planet. I've never seen people go out of their way to make sure that their friends get a deal. And I'm not just talking about the Danny used car sales lot that powers half the DC region, right? I'm talking about the friends like Strano, like Car. These people are the best, and they're keeping us all racing. And it's incredible. And it's like that kind of generosity helps with the finances. So the reason I brought up Strano, the reason I'm bringing up Carceps, it's these, if you need a part, if you need something, keep the cycle going, right? Like, and I don't want to turn this into a sales pitch, but there are local places, local things, local people. And I don't know, it's that keep it in the family.
Yeah, no question.
That's all. I just wanted to throw that out there because they, there's people like, I want to call out Andy Thomas. He's incredible. I don't think he'll listen to this, but like he helped me out big time, and the list goes on and on. I just mentioned a couple of them, but there's dozens, right?
Yeah.
Dozens. So
I think
they help.
Yeah, I think that in order to become a successful person in this particular hobby, right?
Yeah.
The most unique thing about this is it's a sport or a hobby that you have to work.
Yes.
Before you enjoy, or you enjoy it, then you have to work to pay back, right?
Yes.
Not too many people would do that, right?
Exactly. That.
Right? If you already have the mindset like, okay, I don't mind getting dirty. I can go out there. I can do whatever, right?
Yep.
That's why this is called a grassroots motorsport, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because if you're a gentleman driver, right, and you have a lot of resources and trust funds and stuff like that, when you come in here, the first thing you look for is hey, somebody else needs to work for me. I'm going to run and bail, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But that's okay. I mean, if they have resources, they can do that. That's fine. And then that's also, it's really hard to find an organization that would do that, right? Allow people to pay extra to run, because when they do that, they're putting more additional people on the people who are going to end up working, and they are also participants.
Yeah.
Right. And then if you do too much of that, and then the participant will say, "Wait a minute, I mean, why am I running my ass off so you can make another $300 on my time?" Right. So these are, so that's very, very critical, right? Yeah. So organization can only push so much in that, right? But I don't want to go too deep in that, but the fact that we are all have a different sets of mindset and makeup of what we're doing, right? And this is why you run into people that will help, take off the shirt off their back and help you.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the mindset of a regular autocrosser.
We do have to spend money. The sport isn't free. We got to spend money.
Yeah. And unfortunately, this is not a business, right? I mean, you don't win by taking out somebody else's money. Yeah. And in fact, you don't get paid at all.
I was gonna say it's the opposite. Like
exactly. It's a hobby of paying, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I think about, things like your finances, right?
Yeah.
At the same time you're dealing with your finances, like what Ada says, if you can pass along whatever that you need to have to the people who are helping you, who are supporting you, it's a good thing to do, right? I don't want to make this thing to a commercial, but I will.
Okay, good. Hit me.
I will.
Hit me.
Strano Parts,
There it is.
right? You know,
Yep.
helping everybody for years, right?
Years.
Yes, years. Go ask for free advice and walked away. That's extremely uncool. Okay? I mean,
Sorry, you got me. I was like,
it's so uncool, man.
It's the worst.
Right? And then, in our regions, guys like Brian Carwin.
Yep.
Right? I mean, always helping out and design things that are like
Always.
top notch, right?
Yep.
And then we got guys at the Tire Rack,
Yes.
Chris Harvey in South Bend. I mean, they're all like longtime autocrossers. I know Lee Grimes no longer work for Coney anymore, but when he's just retired. But when Lee Grimes was at Coney, oh my God, you take your shocks into national events. He rebuilds it for you for free.
Wow.
Where do you find that, right?
You don't find that anywhere else.
And then little Mike Snyder that makes
Yes.
all the autocross numbers and all of that stuff, and then like a lot of autocross cars, so many autocross cars, things like the Chicken or Mugen that AJ has. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many numbers and graphics that he did for everyone, right? So the thing is at the same time, obviously we're not talking 100% finances, but if we pay some back to some of our friends,
Correct.
they're autocrossing and helping us along the way, and that's kind of how you eventually save some money in this whole the finance kind of a thing. So consider saving $1. You want to make sure the money gets saved, gets put into the right place. Right?
Exactly, and goes to the right people. It's that simple.
Yeah. So think about that. Yeah. That's all I have.
There's one other thing, Danny, we can talk about maybe next episode, and that's one of our friends started a new app, and that has something to do with money, but it's not directly finances.
Yeah.
So we could talk about that later if you want.
So our friend Key, he actually developed a new app where, and this applies to race cars. I don't know if it does that for autocross cars.
There's an autocross. There is an autocross option. Yes.
Oh wow, cool.
Yep,
So
cool.
so I know that this new app is pretty cool. So what he does is it's a person to person, not a B2B, but it's a P2P, I guess.
P2P,
It's a person to person car rental service for racing.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a concept it's a market that's missing everywhere, right? So that's something that maybe in the future or soon or maybe now, right? If you need to try out an autocross car or try out a race car that you want to buy, right? Maybe perhaps somebody will actually willing to rent their autocross car out for the day.
Yep.
And then so you can try it before you buy it, or you get into a situation say, I like to try out for a whole season.
There you go. You can keep renting it. And the app is called Curbs with a Z.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
we'll post it. We'll post it.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll post it here, and then there's something to check it out. But I just thought it's an excellent idea.
Excellent idea.
Yeah. So for at least it's something that's missing, right? That it's not available. So
love it. So
anyway,
there you go. Finances. Ask Uncle Danny.
All right. All right.
So,
thanks.
Thank you, Danny. Talk to you.